All right, with your exams right around the corner, let's lock in on one of the most important topics you are going to face, the functions of management. This is the absolute core of what a manager does, and in the next few minutes, we are going to break it all down so you can totally ace that test. So, have you ever wondered, what does a manager actually do all day? I mean, it's got to be more than just sitting in meetings and answering emails, right? Well, the success of any company, big or small, really boils down to effective management. And that's not some kind of magic. It's a set of key activities, all done in a very specific order.
And those activities, they form what we call the management cycle. We're going to walk through this whole thing step by step. We start by laying the foundation with planning. Then we build the structure with organizing and staffing. After that, we put it all into motion with directing and coordinating. And finally, we close the loop with controlling. Seriously, think of this as your complete management toolkit.
Now, to help you lock all of this in for your exam, here is your secret weapon, Paused COCO. Yup, Paused COCO. It stands for planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, and controlling. It is the perfect little tool to structure your answers so you don't miss a single crucial step.
Okay, let's dive right in. It all, and I mean all, begins with planning. This isn't just the first step on some list, it's the most crucial one. Why? Because every single other function of management is built right on top of this foundation. Get this wrong, and the whole thing can fall apart.
So, what is planning exactly? Well, Kuntz and O'Donnell gave us the perfect exam-ready definition. They said it's deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who is to do it. But pay close attention to that last part. Planning bridges the gap from where we are and where we want to go. It's all about creating a roadmap to get you from point A to point B.
So why does it matter so much? Well, these are your key exam points right here, so listen up. Good planning gives you clear objectives, which in turn gives everyone a clear path to follow. It helps you see and minimize future risks. And of course, it makes sure you're using your resources, your people, your money, your time, in the absolute best way possible. And crucially, it sets the standards that you're going to need later for that final step, controlling. Okay, so you've got this brilliant plan, this amazing roadmap. Now what? Well, you need to actually build the vehicle to get you there. This brings us to our next two super connected functions, organizing and staffing. You know, a plan is just words on a page until you start to organize your resources. This is the part where you identify and pull together everything you're going to need, the people, the cash, the materials, the tech, and you arrange them in a way that actually helps you achieve your goals. So officially, organizing is the process of defining and grouping activities and establishing authority relationships among them. In simple terms, you're building the skeleton of the organization. You're creating departments, figuring out job roles, and making it clear who reports to who. You're literally creating the framework. And once that skeleton is all built out, what's the next logical step? You've got to bring it to life. You do that by staffing it with the right people. This function is all about the company's most valuable asset, its humans.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The whole goal of staffing is getting the right person at the right job with the right pay. Simple as that. This covers everything from finding and hiring people to training them and figuring out their compensation.
All right, let's recap. The plan is set, the structure is built, and the team is in place. Now it is time to hit the go button. This is the action phase, and it's all about directing and coordinating.
Your textbook calls directing the life spark of an enterprise, and I just love that description. It's the process of instructing, guiding, communicating, inspiring, and motivating employees to actually achieve the goals. This is where a manager stops being just a planner and starts being a real leader.
So what does great directing look like in action? Well, for one, it initiates action. It gets the ball rolling. It also integrates everyone's efforts so people aren't working against each other. It provides motivation, creates that all-important team spirit, and helps everyone use their resources effectively. Now, this is a classic spot for confusion on an exam, so let's get this crystal clear. What's the difference between directing and coordinating? Think of it like this. Directing is the conductor telling the violin section how to play their part with passion. Coordinating is making sure the violins, the drums, and the horns all start playing at the exact same time to create a beautiful harmony. Directing is leadership, coordinating is synchronization. So we've planned the work and we've worked the plan, but how do we know if we're actually on track?
How do we know if we're winning? That brings us to the final critical function that closes the loop of our management cycle: controlling.
Dale Henning defines controlling as the process of bringing about conformity of performance with planned action. Whew, that's a mouthful. Let's simplify. It's the feedback loop. It's where we stop, take a breath, and compare what we actually did with what we said we were going to do in our plan. And this isn't some complicated mystery. The controlling process follows a really logical 5-step loop. First, you set the standard. That came from your plan, remember? Then you measure what actually happened. Step 3, you compare the two. If there's a difference, you analyze why that happened. And finally, you take corrective action to get things back on track. Simple, right?
So there you have it. That's the whole process. Now, let's tie this all together into your complete management toolkit just to make sure we've got everything locked in.
And here it is, the full cycle one last time. Planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, controlling. The most important thing to remember for your exam is that this is a cycle, not a checklist. It's a continuous, interconnected process. That last step, controlling, gives you all the info you need to start the next round of planning. It never, ever stops.
So let's boil it down. What are your key exam takeaways? Number 1, management is a continuous cycle, not a list. 2, every function depends on the others. 3, planning is the foundation for everything else. 4, controlling is how you make sure you actually hit your goals. And finally, when all of them work together, that's when you get a truly efficient and successful organization. Okay, we've gone through all the theory. You have the complete toolkit now. But I want to leave you with one final thought. In the real world, with real people, real budgets, and real problems, which of these 6 functions do you think is the most challenging for a manager to truly master? Something to think about after you go and ace that exam. Good luck!